Hey everyone, and welcome back to the best year of your life. My name is April Seifert, and I'm here with Alex Weber, an award-winning performer, competitor on NBC's hit show American Ninja Warrior, and an international speaker. He is a 5 times TEDx speaker, a world record holder, and one of the youngest coaches ever to be awarded the U.S. Lacrosse Coach of the Year award. He's the author of the book Fail Proof: Become the Unstoppable You. Alex, that is quite the list of accomplishments. We're so excited you're here today.
Thank you, April. I'm so excited to be with you.
Today's topic is a really great one for you. We're talking about mindset and performance, which is something that I'm incredibly passionate about as a psychologist. So I'm pumped to get started. And I'd love to start with you, with your background. How did this topic get to be something that was so important to you?
I appreciate that. And I would say as someone living it, so it was really me being an individual who had a dream. And however we define dreams, I define dreams as something you want really badly. And you'll do just about anything to make it happen. And I've had those dreams. I've had those dreams to play Division I college lacrosse. Then my next dream was to be an entertainer and then a speaker and an author. So I've had all these dreams and I know what it feels like to be in those situations and to doubt yourself, to deal with confidence, to deal with judgment from other people, judgment from ourselves. So it was first as someone experiencing it. And then really what unlocked this shift of, oh, wow, not only am I now someone going through it, but I'm also someone coaching, was quite literally after I played Division I college lacrosse and had ups and downs. I started every game as a freshman, but because I really wasn't in control of my mindset and emotions, I got benched every single game as a sophomore, lost my dream, which bled in. I lost friendships. My relationship ended. She broke up with me if we're splitting hairs. My schoolwork messed up. So because we're not, something that I'm very passionate about is we're the same human beings. We just change our shirt. So you're the same human being at work, your relationships in your life. We just change whatever shirt we're wearing, but it's still the same person. So it wasn't until after, and I started coaching high school lacrosse. And it was my side job as I was doing entertainment, but I fell in love with it. And seeing in these young adults who had a dream, that I knew that dream, and then they'd make a mistake, and I'd see in them what I felt. And what was beautiful is it felt like a chance to almost heal myself in them. And in doing that, from going through someone experiencing it to then being a coach, when I took over the program, the school, Harvard Westlake in Los Angeles, a very intense, prestigious high school, had never won a playoff game. And in that first season, we won the Los Angeles championship. I was awarded U.S. Lacrosse Coach of the Year. The kids won awards. We're still boys to this day. But that really unlocked that shift, which then led to speaking, the TEDx talks, and the book.
Amazing. That's an incredible background. And something that stands out from it is this notion that it wasn't easy. You didn't succeed at every step of the way. And you mentioned this, this notion of failure, that everybody fails, but not everybody knows how to fail. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. And this is what I think is beautiful. So American Ninja Warrior is how I really went head to head with this word fail, because that is a word that you use in American Ninja Warrior. Did you get through the obstacle or did you fail? Did you hit the buzzer or did you fail? And it's such a through the roof, intense, you're on these obstacles 3 stories high, millions of people watching, you only get one shot. So what's beautiful is it takes these fails and it puts them through the roof, literally. But what's awesome is that fails happen in every area of our lives. And that is something that I've really fallen in love with, because it doesn't matter if it's American Ninja Warrior or losing a deal or a breakup and a relationship ending. It's also miscommunications. You make a mistake, you misstep on something that you thought was going to go well. And that's really where I fall in love with, is the micro fails. But so how to fail is really where the book came from. And there's 3 chain reactions, and there's 6 steps to my process with how you overcome failing. But the chain reaction is anytime we hit a fail, the first thing that happens is we have an emotional reaction. I was training the other day in Ninja Warrior. I busted up my face. And the first thing that happens is that we have an emotional reaction. So let's say you tried to tell a joke at a dinner party and it flopped. We're going to have an emotional reaction. You pitched an idea and they rejected it. Or someone ended a relationship with you. We're going to have an emotional reaction. And we're human beings. Don't block it out. I've done that. It doesn't work. Feel it, process it, but we do need to let that wave go. So that's the first piece of it, and I'd be happy to share the others, but that one is what I have found is the biggest variable for people, because usually the emotions are too intense. And so if we go to do something new, whatever that is, you try singing karaoke and it doesn't go great, it's so intense that we just start to either back away from it or start to convince ourselves of what I call dangerous lies, which are, you're not musical, you're not creative, you're not athletic, you're not capable of a leader, you're not worthy of love, you're not good enough. And we just adopt those and put them into our identity when they're really dangerous lies.
That's so good. I love that you mentioned this notion of you're going to have a reaction because you're human, because so many times we find ourselves in that situation and then we beat ourselves up because we emotionally responded. Well, of course you did. That's like what we do as human beings. So I love that you gave us permission to do that. And I would love to hear the other two pieces of this, because sometimes, people will see someone like you, like, oh, American Ninja Warrior, that has nothing to do with my life, when it really does. The lessons that you learned are applicable. So what are the other two pieces?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I want to give a little insight into what American Ninja Warrior is to me, because I hope that it might be able to connect with people. So American Ninja Warrior came into my life first with that dream that I had of being an entertainer. I was supposed to go into finance and business when I played Division I lacrosse, and which is a beautiful path if it's right for you. It wasn't right for me. And so it was very challenging to change paths, move from New York, tell all my friends, tell all my teammates, tell all the people that I admired and my parents that I was not going to do this path, which is a beautiful path. And I was going to go all in on this mysterious, quote unquote, reckless entertainment thing. Fast forward 6 years, I was hired by NBC to host for American Ninja Warrior. That's pretty cool. I was fired up. I'm like, I'm doing it. This is great. Well, part of my job was to be a host on this all access digital series where I'd be like, all right, here we are in Atlanta. Here's the athletes. Look at this crazy obstacle. And the producers thought it'd be fun if I got up there, tried the obstacle, and failed for everyone's entertainment. So I did that for an entire season. 20 episodes, 10 different cities, all these obstacles. Alex gets up there in front of all the athletes, in front of the crowd, in front of the cameras. Boom, failed my face off. And what was interesting though was I was a D1 athlete, but they wanted comedic fails. And to be honest with you, it was so difficult. It didn't matter how hard I was trying. I was going down. So the first season, my comedian part of me was having a great time. The athlete part of me, I was like, I guess that chapter's done. The comedian take over. Enter season 2. I was hosting and the producers were like, hey, Alex, we think it'd be fun if you got good at this now. I was like, well, come again now? What is that? Because this was impossible. So this is where I think, and I hope this may relate to people, in order to keep my dream job, I now had to become good at something that was impossible to me. I had to start succeeding at something where the only thing that I had done was fail. And why that's so important is because I look back at these videos and pictures of me hosting, and I know how I felt when it'd be like, all right, Alex, it's time to go up there and do the obstacle. But I couldn't fail. All the athletes are there. The producers are there. I would go and I would try my best and I would fail. And you fall and you crash in the water. And I remember so viscerally the moment of crashing in the water, I would just want to hide and stay down there and be like, I'm a merman now. I live in the water. I'm not coming back up. And I would remember I would get up out of the water and I would look immediately to the producers to see if they were watching, because that was my insecurity. And then I'd go back to the hotel at night and I just remember this. I'd be sick to my stomach. I'd be embarrassed. And most of all, I was scared that I was going to lose my job. They can find someone else to do this. I'm not. They asked me to be better. They asked me to succeed on this and I'm not. So I was worried that I was going to get a call that says, Alex, it's really not working out. We're going to go with someone else. So that year was rough. And that is where I developed the fail-proof system, was because I needed to. So the first 3 steps, or 6 steps, the first 3 steps are all about how we set goals that actually matter to us. But what for me was the biggest game changer was then I was like, I had an honest moment with myself, which I encourage people, I call it brave honesty. I think honesty is one of the most important things in life, and brave honesty I've been with a lot of alpha, big, tough people. It takes a different kind of bravery to just quietly look at yourself and your life and say, I really want that. Or I kind of thought this would be better. And that, it can be tough to do that. So that's bravery. And why I say that is I remember in those hotels, scared for my job, that I just had a conversation with myself. And I said, Alex, if you don't want to do this, go do something else. You can go do anything else. You don't have to do this. You can do other jobs. You can do other work. You don't have to do Ninja Warrior. You don't have to post this thing. Go do something else. But if you do want to do this, then we got to figure this out. And I was like, okay, Alex, thanks so much for asking. I really want to do this. This means so much to me, and it's very important to know why it does. And for me, I remember thinking, I just like this. I love this version of me that this pushes me. I didn't think I could be this Alex, and I didn't want to lose it. So in a very real way, I was fighting for my life. I was fighting for this Alex that I didn't want to lose. And I say that because if that sounds intense to anyone, I also encourage you to remember that goals are intense and goals are hard. And to have something within you that makes your heart just go, okay, so someone broke up with you and you want to get it back together to maybe have another relationship, or maybe not have another relationship, but just really feel solid and good alone. Awesome. Why do you want that? And keep asking yourself until what I call your heart just goes, because that's the one. That's the one that's going to get you keep going. All right. So for me, it was, I needed to start training with American Ninja Warriors. So I would go to these gyms, start training with these incredible athletes. And that's where I would fail 20 times an hour. And I was like, I got to figure out a system or I'm going to keep failing and be wallowing in the parking lot. This gym's going to close. So this long-winded answer to your question, but I wanted to give the background, is the first step is an emotional reaction. The second step is what I call a golden nugget, meaning most people, their emotions will get the better of them to the point that they either back away, whether that's loud or quiet, they back away. Or their emotions get the better of them, so just get right back at it. But it's the same go. It's the same attempt. I've been there. The golden nugget is, can you challenge yourself in that moment of a bit of emotions? Can you say, okay, why didn't it go great? Did I not prepare? Did I not commit? Did I not communicate? Did I not really know what I was doing? What is one thing? It's probably 100, but what is one? And then step 3 is recommit with full effort and full belief. And that can be difficult because if we just got knocked on our booty, how do you really believe that it's going to go better? And for that, I say, you got to remember this, remember what got your heart going, use those emotions that however you felt angry, you felt annoyed, you felt frustrated, use it, and then use that actionable takeaway, that golden nugget. And if we do that, it's not sexy or glamorous, but we will, our graph will go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and you will get there.
Mm-hmm. I love too that you just pointed out there might be 100 things you could do differently, and that's okay. You're going to pick one because that list can be overwhelming to us sometimes. Yes. That list can be the thing that leads us to feel like, I can't do this, I have to quit. Yes. And
100%.
When we're in that feeling, like let's just call that inevitable, that at times we're going to feel like we want to quit. We're going to feel like we don't want to keep going. How do you help people get over that feeling? How do they get to the point where they can recommit again?
I think that it's such a beautiful question, April. And I think where I would start with is know that you can quit. That is so important. I work and coach with high-level executives and professional athletes, and a professional golfer in particular who I love. I often tell him, he loves food. I go, man, at any time, if you want to go open up a restaurant, amazing. Let's go do that. And that's so important. So why I say that is you can quit your job. You can quit your relationship. You can quit your life. We need to be bravely honest. Absolutely, yes, you can. And once we acknowledge that we really do have that choice, it just takes a little air out of the balloon. And then we can decide, okay, well, I can do anything or nothing. So do I want to do this? And if we don't. But if you do want to do it, there's just so much autonomy and empowerment and control in knowing, you know what? I don't have to do this, but I really want to do this. So now I choose to. That shift of our lens will change everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. You talk about people being unstoppable, and you've given great examples from your background in that way. I mean, it's incredible. What gets in the way of people feeling the confidence they need to be unstoppable?
That's such a good question. All right, well, let's be real here. So I went to a ninja competition. There's the big show, NBC American Ninja Warrior. And then because the sport has grown, there's also these competitions in different cities. There's leagues because it's gotten very intense. So I felt not that prepared. I just went off into the jungle, which we can talk about, for about a week and a half on a spiritual and emotional healing retreat, which was awesome. I got back and my negative, fearful voice was like, let's not go to this competition. It's probably not going to go that great. We're not that prepared. But the other real part of me knew that if I didn't go, I would have regret. And I'd rather go fully commit, even if it wasn't great, than have the regret. I just know that about myself. So I went. It didn't go great. Fell a ton of times. Mentioned I busted up my face. So right now, confidence not very high. I want to be very honest with you. But I also know that confidence can build. And really, what I know, and I'm just trying to use my own personal example in hopes that it can connect with people, is there is a Ninja Warrior training tonight. So the confidence building one was to call an amazing Ninja Warrior and say, hey, are you training this week? Can I come? Even though I feel discouraged, even though my confidence got rattled, even though I am playing out stories of what all these Ninja Warriors think that I respect. I'm playing out all these stories that they think I suck and that I'm just that goofy host and I'm not a real Ninja Warrior. And I'm playing out these stories. Who knows? Maybe they think that, maybe they don't, but I'm playing out. But the confidence builder is to show up tonight with full belief and full effort and to prove to that doubtful voice that I'm capable. And that's so important. And I say that to people listening, is to keep building up what I call your confidence bank. And that is times where you did get knocked back, or your doubt or nerves or insecurities are saying you can't do it, but you just decide, you know what, I don't know how this is going to go, but in this moment, I'm going to commit and give it everything I have. Whether that is going on that date after a breakup, whether that is pitching a new idea or launching a company that's your first time ever, whatever, or starting a new habit or workout challenge, just saying, you know what, let's check the result. The result's over there. We'll get to that. We'll see what happens over there. I can't touch it. But in this moment, I'm going to commit with full effort and full belief.
That's so good, because people focus in the opposite direction. I find when they fall down and hit their face or whatever, metaphorically in their own lives is the case, they focus on, in order for me to build my confidence, not only do I have to show up, but I have to show up and excel and succeed and do it perfectly the next time. And I don't want to miss this nuance, because that's not what you're saying. You're saying the act of recommitting and showing up is what builds confidence. And that's something you have 100%. Control over. I love it.
Absolutely. Yes. And you mentioned unstoppable, and that's really where I think it is. I'm not saying that you're going to be a direct line, but if you are so committed to why you want this and what it means, and you know that you want it and you are relentless, it's like that funny scene in a movie where there's a lot of water in a dam and there's a leak, and then people put chewing gum and they try to block up the leak, and the water busts through another hole and they try to block it up and they put their fingers here. You will find a way because you are unstoppable. You are relentless. And that will beat out skill. That'll beat out intellect and ability. That relentless force is what is being unstoppable.
I love it. I want to put that together with something you said before around being, bravely honest with yourself.
Yeah.
How do we know when it is time to go in a different direction? How do we know, this isn't right for me anymore? I am going to, quote, quit, but more of make an intentional decision to go in a different direction.
Yeah, that's such a good, it's a very insightful and a bravely honest question. And I would say, listen and hear what is coming from yourself, because we got a lot of voices in ourselves. And sometimes that voice might be one that is really not you, but it is one trying to protect you. Meaning, you know what? I don't want to date anymore. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. And maybe you really do feel that in your soul and your heart and your gut, or maybe it is a protective voice saying, let's not do it again because we may get hurt. And after every season of American Ninja Warrior, I do ask myself, do I want to do this again? And that is so important what you're saying, because in my eyes, commitment is the most important commodity in the world. I mentioned being unstoppable. It's commitment. I've seen it. I've seen it in every arena. I've seen it when I was a Division I athlete with my dream. I've seen it when I was coaching. I've seen it with my mom and her battle with cancer. If you are committed, you will make it happen. But there is a fork in the road. It is binary. It is black and white. There is a fork in the road. And that fork is, are you going to commit or not? And that is where we really need to have that bravely honest moment. So I would just say twofold. One, listen to yourself, and often. Don't make a rash decision. If this is a big choice that you're making in your life, listen. Listen over the course of days and weeks. Listen in quiet times. See what surfaces in your mind, and just kind of catalog these voices. And you'll know when the real you is showing up. And last kind of nuance there, I would say, is do it at all different times. Do it while you're walking around or going for a workout. Do it in the morning. Do it at night when you first wake up in that beautiful theta state. Ask yourself, do I really want to do this? And the second one to listen to and be very mindful of is other people, but other people who deserve to be listened to. That's the real talk. Not everyone deserves to be listened to for you in big decisions. And I just remember I was thinking about quitting coaching lacrosse because I didn't think my heart was in it. And I remember that right before that season, my mom said, yeah, but I think you really love this. Like, you really love this. Do you want to do it for one more season? This is when I got offered the head coaching position when I was 25 years old. And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this or not. And I always remember that because it was a gift from her. Part of me was like, I think I just got to go full force in entertainment. And she was like, but you really love this sport. And I listened to that. And that season of coaching absolutely changed my life. So be open. Listen to people, but don't listen to everyone. I've had so many people very close to me, people that I've called good friends, roommates, even family, that I've told, hey, I really want to do this. And it's gotten shot down. Be mindful of who you listen to.
That's so good. And I can imagine that might be, that list of people might change depending upon what that goal is, what that domain of life is, who knows you well in that regard. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
You know, something that that's palpable to anybody watching this, that they can see as an asset of yours, is this like amount of enthusiasm, positive energy. Is that something that you naturally have? Is that something that you've cultivated?
I appreciate that. You know, what's funny? I've been called positive and energetic my whole life. And then, you know, people that I work with in speaking, so I keynote speak at companies, organizations, universities, schools, they encourage me to do a talk on positive energy. And at first I rebelled the idea. You know, I think it's that natural thing of like, well, I'm not just positive energy. I have negative moments. I'm also lazy sometimes. So I'm like, you know, I'm not a golden retriever. But then I kind of lived with what positivity and energetic mean to me. And I would say yes. But I will say that I'm pausing because it's a nuanced topic and a somewhat difficult one. And I grew up with someone who was very emotional and very intense and leaned very negative, and that was my father. Now I paused because I know he's listening, because he's also incredibly supportive and loving and encouraging of me. So it was this interesting dichotomy. But in a lot of my formidable years, really up until I was about 16 years old, that love, and I say this in the book, was just a little misguided. And it came off as very intense, very intense. And I think because of that, I found a lot of joy in the years later, in my teenage years and beyond, of just simple joys in life. Simple joys that I didn't really see because going to dinner was intense. Going on a trip was intense. Movie night was even intense. And so later in life, I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much simple joys and things to love about life. And I'll just say that at its core, with why I'm positive and why I'm energetic, it is true to my heart. It doesn't mean I'm not negative ever. It doesn't mean I'm not low energy or down. Of course, I'm human. But at the 10,000 foot view, I do love life. And I acknowledge that this is a crazy fortunate gift and a choice. And I have had suicidal thoughts in my life, especially over the last year and a half. And I really think that that is important to share, because even competing on American Ninja Warrior and speaking in front of people and being on TV and having a book published, yes, I did. And I think that's important to share. But at the end of the day, I really love life. I really love life. And I understand that no one is making me be here. No one is making me be here. Yes, would people be sad? And I can't even imagine. Yes, of course. But no one's making me be here. I get to be here. And I love being here.
I appreciate you sharing that. One, it's a brave thing to tell others about. But two, it's also an incredibly grounding thing for us all to hear, that there are multifaceted sides to all of us that we just might not realize. And I think your experience in having those thoughts, but still coming back to this place that's true to you, there's something to learn there. You mentioned this recent trip of yours, this retreat.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned from that. What drove you to go, and what did you take with you from it?
So, and this is all, I want to be bravely honest. So I have wrestled with a lot of what's going on in the world. And I've wrestled with, what is my role in this? And I had felt something very deep in me that I should be more vocal about. I love people. And so if things don't align with that love of people, how can I do it in one arena, a book, speaking? I run a men's group. How can I do it in one arena and not in another? And I knew that truth, but I was a little fearful of speaking up because of judgment, of criticism, all that stuff. Now that is what led to the suicidal thoughts, because deep down in my soul, I knew what I should be doing, but because of the circumstances, I wasn't doing it. And it's, you go to bed with your soul, you wake up with your soul, whatever that means to you, your heart, your intuition, all of this. And so betraying it was really rough. Now, where I went down there for is, and this is a beautiful time to share this, is, so I'm sober. As someone who struggled with substances. But plant medicine has been absolutely game-changing, beneficial in my life. And we can decide how much we want to deep dive on this. But what I will share in this moment is that for anyone who wants to discount it or run with the branding that it's been given, which is maybe reckless or drugs or whatever, let me offer this. It has been the genesis of almost every type A credential that you heard on my bio, came from a moment of brave honesty that was encouraged and healed and allowed through plant medicine. Not every single one, but the majority. So I just want to offer that reframe to people. And you can heal really wounding things in a very efficient manner. So that was on my mind. And this idea popped in my head of, gosh, maybe there's shamans in the jungle of Peru. And that idea popped in my head just about the time I had suicidal thoughts, which is this June. And I also realized that maybe some of my professionalism might be viewed, and I might be projecting this, but I think that it's very important in this setting to be bravely honest. And so I'm going to continue to share this. So June is when I had the real suicidal thought. I was road tripping. I decided to move from California because I didn't like the circumstances. Just like I said, the circumstances weren't helping me, and I felt a calling to Colorado. I road tripped, and brave honesty here. I went to this mountain edge. It's a huge canyon in Colorado. It is football fields deep, and I climbed over the fence. And part of American Ninja Warrior is I've gotten good with breathing in fearful moments. That's just part of what you get good at. And I went to the cliff's edge and I breathed and I acknowledged, if you want to, Alex, you are 6 inches from this lap of your human experience being done. 6 inches, just you're gone. And that's that. But if not, and you want to live this life, it's time to climb back over that fence, change your circumstances, and live what you want to live. And that's what felt right to me. I didn't want to. I wanted to live a different life. So I climbed back over the fence and here we are. But I knew that I needed help. So that idea popped in my head of maybe I'd go to the jungle in Peru. And what's beautiful is when we start to embrace these bravely honest ideas and goals, they have a way of flowing. And it came across my radar of an opportunity. And so I went down there, and it was a week in the jungle. Part of me was like, oh, it'll be like Airbnb jungle. It was not. From the nearest island, we took a 2-hour like oversized canoe into the jungle, and then you walk in and it's beautiful. The place is called Arcana. Amazing people. There's no gimmick Disneyland here. It was shamans who have dedicated their entire life to this, and as they had said, and I'm going to share videos on this shortly, they are doctors. We gather around every day. We do group share for 2 hours. You journal, you meditate, you do quiet time, you do sound healing. This was not a vacation. This was hard work. And you use plant medicine with your intentions, which again was not a vacation. It is very intense. However, when you wake up, it really helped. And what was even more beautiful than all of that was there was 20 people from 10 different countries, people who came. I shared my reason for coming. I wanted clarity on my life's purpose. I wanted to heal some trauma. There was one moment where it was supposed to be this fun experience that everyone had. And for me, I ended up sobbing for an hour and apologizing because I didn't realize how much shame I've been carrying with me for my life. And so that was a gift. Regardless of our lens on this, our perspective, whatever we think about this, the facts are this has deeply helped me. So why would I not share something that has deeply helped me, even if it's met with a little bit of judgment?
That's so interesting and amazing that you had such a impactful experience at such an important time in your life.
Thank you.
And I think all of us watching this are grateful that the series of events worked out the way they did.
Thank you.
And as you think about the audience watching this, do you have, I can think of so many examples that you've shared already, least of all what you just shared, a way for people to think about changing their mindset about something that they're working on right now, struggling with right now, where the mindset that they have, the set of beliefs that they have might not be helping them move in the direction that they want to. Do you have thoughts for how they can start to make that shift?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love that you said the beliefs, right? Because there's two lands. There's the logical, strategic one, which, why is the goal not happening? And there very well may be logically strategic things that you can do. Maybe you need an accountability person. Maybe you just need to clear more time in your schedule or show up and put yourself out there more. So that very well may be true. But just like April was saying, behind those, and I've experienced this too, of course I have, is the belief. Because if we're not doing it and we know we should, that's usually where the belief is. And for me, one of the most plaguing ones has been this belief of unworthiness. I don't deserve it. And what I've really had to spend time on that. So I'll just give a factual one. Is sometimes this idea has, and I've really worked on it's improved a lot, that will just say, no, it can't be. No, it can't be that good. It can't be that great. It can't be that smooth. It can't be that easy. It's just this, I call it this hook. And it's based on nothing except me not believing that I'm worthy of it. And what I've been taught and embodied in my life and share with other people is when I feel that, to pause and just say, maybe it can be. And then that maybe it can be has in time switched to, it can be that easy. It can be that smooth. It can be that great. It can be that loving. I can be that happy. And it is a muscle. And why I say that is we're not going to be perfect at it. I use the example of meditating. It's tough for me to sit still. I'm sure people listening have gone through that too, right? And you're breathing and I'm focusing on the breath. I'm focusing on the breath. Did I leave the stove on? Oh my gosh, I have that event later. Oh my God, why did they not text me? Okay, focus on the breath. Focus on the breath.
You're and totally describing my morning. P.S. That's like exactly my morning.
It always happens. And why I say that though, is we are the product of what we do most often. You don't have to be perfect. Just return back to the path. Return back. So I just encourage, just like April's saying, to have a moment of brave honesty and put on your objectivity hat and just say, okay, what do I believe about myself in this situation? And could any of them be lies? Just be a detective, be a lawyer, be super objective, and just say, could any of these be lies? And then write them on a piece of paper. And then we'll get back to being a human being and we'll work on them. But first, just get them down, black and white on a piece of paper. What beliefs could be lies?
That's so good. That's so good. It just requires you to test your own assumptions and poke at things and experiment with some of the most basic scaffolding that holds us in the place that we are. That's so good. You know, folks are at this summit. They're joining us this week to make this one of the best years of their lives. Do you have any final thoughts, final direction for people as they move forward in the summit and apply everything they're learning?
Oh gosh, that's I mean, just so much admiration and love for what you're doing because, first I want to say, I'm hearing the words again, and it's why not have the best year of your life? Why not? So first, good on you for showing up, everyone to this. And I would just say, first and foremost, just looking at what could make it the best year of your life. And just like April and I have been saying, what might also get in the way of that? And, I've got asked a lot about New Year's resolutions and all of that. And this is my answer to that is, use the first of the year, use this event as a catalyst. That's a beautiful thing. We're good with that. But also know that if in a week they all go out the window, you can do it again. January 8th is such a beautiful time to set those resolutions. January 31st, March 10th is such a great time. So I mean that because at any time, if we fall off, we can keep going. And just like, to April's point, so there's a wealth of information here. I encourage you to write down the pieces that really connected with your heart. You know, your gut, your intuition, and the ones that really hit home from me, from April, from all the amazing people here, write those on a list. Don't worry, you'll remember everything else you're supposed to remember. But just see if you can write down the top 10, the top 15 things that hit with you. And that is such a powerful and non-overwhelming way of using this in your life.
This is so great. This has been such a great conversation. You've been so open and honest about your own experience and also the value in what you've shared about how you've crafted your own life and what you've been able to overcome is just amazing. Alex, where can people find out more about you, find you online?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So it's Alex Weber, 1B in Weber. I'm Alex Weber is my social handle and also my website. And so keynote speaking, I feel very fortunate and very in purpose. University, schools, companies, and then obviously the book, fail proof. It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And please let me know if you get it because I have support groups for that. And I run a men's community, which came from deep in my heart of I'm a man and needed other men's support. And that has really grown into something beautiful. It's called Men We Admire, for ourselves to become men that we admire in all areas of our lives. So,
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. It is such a great contribution to this day at the summit. I just really appreciate you.
April, thank you so much for doing this. Such a pleasure.